My name is Farah June, and welcome to the all-new show, Fahrenheit TV. So excited to be back for season 5 of our show. And this year, we're going to do things a little differently. Fahrenheit TV. Since 2014, we've been putting people in the spotlight who live in their greatness. Whether they're expressing themselves through their art, their activism, or their work, we're inspired by those who choose to live audaciously. Season 5 is here, and although we're temporarily out of the TV studio, we're committed to continue to bring you stories that will uplift your soul. Catch all of our new monthly episodes right here on our YouTube channel. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fahrenheit TV. I am your host and producer, Farah June, and today I am so honored to have a rock star, Afro-futuristic rock star, and ladies and gentlemen, Broadway actress. Yes, that's where we have gone, everyone. We are now at the point where we're having legit stars on our platform. So I'm so honored to introduce to everyone Niambi Ra. Thank you so much for being here on our platform. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to our virtual show.
Hey, I'm very honored to be here. I'm Niambi Ra, and I'm coming live from New York City.
Thank you so much for joining us. I know that you had rehearsals all day, so I can imagine you're tired. So very, very honored tonight to hear more about your artistry and just learn about all of the dope things you're doing and the things you're going to be doing in the future. So before I get to, learning more about who Niambi Ra is, I wanted to just ask you, just check in with you. Like, how are you doing? How are you finding peace during, this ongoing pandemic?
I'm doing really well today. Every day is different.
Yeah.
Every part of the day is different. There's the morning, there's the afternoon, there's the evening. Today I've been doing pretty good for the most part. Unfortunately, my first cousin died from COVID last week.
I'm so sorry about that.
Thank you. So that's been a hard one. It's been a really, really hard one. He was like, he my first cousin, so my grandparents' second grandchild.
Wow.
And he's 48 and
still pretty young.
Yes, he has a daughter who is a sophomore in high school, and he too was a hip-hop head and a cultural connoisseur. I wish I could have had more conversations with him for my own artistry and for my own just purpose in life. So I've been reflecting on that a lot and, deciding how I want to live from, that kind of experience that's happened to my family and deciding, and continuing to develop the impact that I want to have on the world. But I'm doing well. You asked me how I've been coping during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I went home to DC. That was really, really helpful. I am from DC. I'm a DC native, DC proper. I'm from Northwest DC. I'm from uptown. I love DC. I love being a city girl. I'm very proud of my city. And when I was there, I got to be with my family. I got to be with my friends. I got to fellowship. I worked out a lot. That was one of the things that helped me a lot. I worked out pretty much all of my adult life, but it's been kind of like off and on. But I think with this pandemic, I've probably been like probably the most consistent I've ever been with my life working out. I worked out in the house. I lost 30 pounds.
Ooh, girl.
Yeah, I even got a fitness certificate to teach group fitness. And so that has been something that's really been keeping me like really pumped up during the pandemic. It also has me feeling so good because I'm in my body. I lost weight during the pandemic. I got
Yes.
strong, I got toned, and it also helps with my mental state. I feel powerful, I feel unstoppable, I feel undefeatable, I feel like I can do anything. So that's been very, very powerful for me. It's also been great to be able to release music
Yes.
over this time and create videos as well. So I think that's what's been getting me through this pandemic. My family, working out and making music and making videos, making content for people. Yeah, and just tapping in with myself.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I would just want to give my condolences again to you and your family, and
Oh,
thank
thank
you
you.
for sharing that with us. I know, especially during this this time frame, you never know how much people are holding on to their shoulders, you know, like it's just like we're just making it, we're going on through the days, but you know, people have a lot. It's like a really heavy for people nowadays. So I'm sending you a lot of love, a lot of peace to you and your family. And I'm glad that you know you're working out and you're creating and you know making music to kind of just not only cope and find peace, but kind of give yourself some therapy. So I'm really happy you're doing that. And speaking of music, I mean, we might as well dive deep right in because wow, your music, oh my goodness.
Take off the ground. Friday is for sunshine, the night time got me hazy. Rising to the daylight and smile.
Been jamming all week. It is so
You're gonna make me cry.
Oh, listen, I hope those are tears of joy, girl, because those like legit. Like I've been listening to Flowers, especially just because I've been kind of feeling emotional myself this season, whatever reason. But I know the reason. But anyways, Flowers feels like it's like every lyric could be like daily affirmations. Like literally, I could look at the song and be like, look at this lyric and say it to myself, believe in it, you know, speak it into existence, manifest it, and know that I'm going to be fine. So thank you for writing that song. But before we start both crying on this interview,
I know,
I just wanted to ask you, you know, can you take us back to when you first discovered your love for music? And can you tell us about, you know, the people who influence you, whether they're living or they're an ancestor, and kind of how that, you know, made you an artist that you are today?
Absolutely. First of all, my mother is an artist, she's a dancer. So I've always been a performing artist. It's the only thing that I've done. I've done it since I was a very small child. My mom had me in classes, acting and dancing and singing from a very young age. So that was always within me, period. I always took it very seriously, meaning I wasn't raised in an environment where it was thought to be like I needed a plan B or something. You know, I was raised in an environment. Yeah, I was raised in an environment where that was supported and taken seriously. And my mother tried her best to put me in all the training that I needed to be in to be a professional and to be successful as a performing artist, which is a really powerful thing that happened in my life because I've never ever had to deal with anyone close to me telling me that I shouldn't be doing this or I should do something else, anything like that. My mom is so supportive and she's so awesome. And
shout out to mommy.
Yes, my mom is awesome. She used to pick me up and drop me off everywhere and found all these scholarships and things for me to be able to travel and get training as an artist from a very young age. And so I always admired music and I always admired singers. And then when I was in high school, I had a boyfriend, and that was my first love. And he is a rapper and an actor. We're kind of the same person in the way.
You literally are. I'm like,
even
you do a lot
at this point. I know, right? He's a rapper and an actor as well. You can catch him on Wu-Tang.
Shout out to your twin flames.
Yes, that is one of my that is definitely one of my twin flames in my life, for sure. So we were in a relationship, and it was like a young love kind of thing, but there was this hip hop thing that he showed me. He showed me hip hop. He showed me hip hop. You know, I was in 9th grade, and I learned about, you know, A Tribe Called Quest and like Erykah Badu,
one of the greatest of all time.
Yes, and Diggable Planets and Wu-Tang, and that's when
Real
like
hip-hop.
all of that, and I was like, oh, this is the music that I like. I like this. Okay, you know. And so me and him started a rap group together. His name is Nuri Hazard. And y'all can check him out as well. We started a rap group together when we were kids in high school, and we would, you know, sit on the phone all night and like recite our rhymes to each other. And
it's so cute.
I know, it's crazy to think about. I was like 13, but we would just write rhymes and like tell each other our rhymes and like make songs, and that was awesome. So that was when I first got the bug, like and then by the time I went to an art school.
I did read about that.
I went to Duke Ellington School of the Arts, which was such a special place because you hear about, you know, arts training. I'm sure you heard of, you know, LaGuardia. I'm sure there's plenty of art, New World. There's other art schools in the United States, but there's no art school like Duke Ellington School of the Arts, because we are in Chocolate City. And we learned about whether you were a singer, a dancer, an actor, whether you were in museum studies, as a curator, a visual artist. We learned how to be artists through the Black lens and through the Black artists that came before us, which is so powerful, because I don't know how many people get that experience, especially as Black artists, you know, really seeing yourself in, whether it be musical theater or you know, classical music or you know, exhibits and curation. No matter what department you were in, my school was 95% Black. You had to audition to get in, and it was a public school. So, you know, it really created opportunities that a lot of us wouldn't have had otherwise. And that was a part of our creed in our school. So it was a very special place. It was only about 500 of us in the whole school. At lunchtime, yeah, exactly. At lunchtime, we would make beats on the tables in the cafeteria.
Oh, this sounds like an epic movie. Like, I wouldn't be part of this. Wow.
Yeah, somebody should have made a movie of our fucking school. I mean, we were so lit. Like, it was lit, you know? I mean, we had so many dance concerts and exhibits, like the art that my peers would create, visual art, and that we had opportunities on our own to create things. Like, we have something called the variety show, which every year, which in a way I guess is like a talent show, but it's an art school, so it's a little bit bigger than just a talent show. But it's called the variety show. And that was a space for us to create our own show in the theater. I mean, we got to perform it in our proper theater. I mean, you know, in our whatever 800,000 seat theater with tech and everything, but this was a show that we created. So I remember for my year, I directed our variety show. I was one of the directors, and also I did a Erykah Badu medley. That was really fun. I was in the theater department, so it was really also great to like be able to just like sing and do and like just be involved in something I was so passionate about.
I love that. It seems like your sound has a mix of like neo soul and like, you know, classic hip hop, like, you know, hip hop that had lyrics that meant something, that when you listen to it, you got a whole story that, you know, it empowered you, informed you something. And you could tell when you listen to your music that you blended that in with your own greatness.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, it was such an honor growing up in DC and growing up as an artist in DC. And we also have go-go music, which is so important to me. I love go-go music. It's been very influential. Definitely when it comes to like, I love having a live band. My album, NEBULA, is we recorded that with a live band.
Is it Black Star? Is it Black Stars?
Yes. And the last song I put out, that was recorded. Guidance was recorded with a live band. So,
Yeah,
and I even had
music video.
yes, my latest music video. Yes.
Mhm.
And in New York, I had a residency for a while. So, what was our residency? Was it every Sunday or once every, it was once a month.
Mhm.
My band, we would play out. We had a residency and it was really fucking awesome. But I think that because I'm from DC and because I love go-go music so fucking much, I mean,
Yes.
I love go-go music. I think that really influenced how I feel about live music and the importance of live music and live
Mhm.
instrumentation and the whole vibe and the drums and everything like that. So yeah, that's kind of how I first got introduced to my passion
Yes.
for what I do now.
That's awesome. So, and when you were telling me about like, Duke Ellington, like your school and your experience there, I kept thinking of like Aretha Franklin songs, Young, Gifted, and Black. And I was thinking about that because I felt like, those that came before us made sure that they were going to create safe spaces for Black creatives in particularly to see themselves in everything, that there's no limit. The sky is not even the sky is the limit because there's footprints on the moon. You know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
really allowed you to dream big. And it's so great
Yes.
that you had that same encouragement at home.
Yes.
And then you took all of that greatness to New York. So has that transition been, how has that transition been from coming from DC going to New York and
Oh,
there?
so fascinating. So I moved here in 2010 when I graduated high school. I went to NYU.
Oh, nice.
And that's how I ended up first in New York. So if anyone knows anything about NYU, it's not your typical campus. You're in the city. We don't have a campus. We have an area of town in which most of our buildings are in.
Yeah.
But NYU buildings are all over New York City, really. But my first dorm was on Fifth Avenue. I lived on Fifth Avenue in Washington Square Park. Yes, but it was my dorm. So going to NYU was wow. I mean, at first, I was, let me put it like this. I was very invested in school. So I was in New York City, but I was a very good student. I've always been a very good student. And also as, going to NYU, and coming from Chocolate City, was deep for me. Not that I'd never been around like white people at all or Jewish people at all. My mom was awesome because my mom had me around everybody, but also made me know who I was at all times, So there was a time that I went to private school. Right before I went to Duke Ellington, I went to a school called Georgetown Day School in Washington, D.C. I went there for middle school, and that's like your classic private school. I mean, you're talking, we call our teachers by their first name. I played soccer. We had lacrosse. I went to like 1,000 bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs when I was in middle school. Oh yeah. So I knew what the white people were up to. And like, I was like, okay. But that was tough for me because I was always trying to figure out how to like fit in or be myself, and they were also very rich. I was there on scholarship. They were very rich. I mean, so then when I went to NYU, I kind of like put it all together. I was like, oh, these are those people. Like, oh, this is the connection here. This is what happens, like, oh, I was just like, I was around a lot of rich white kids. Like that's like really, what I mean? Like, like people were having their bar mitzvahs at like the ESPN zone, renting out the whole place type of shit. That's what I was doing. I went to so many that I can speak a little bit of Hebrew, like for real, because of how much of these events that I went to. So later in life, when I went to NYU, I started putting the pieces together. I was like, oh, okay, you all are those, and kind of like, oh, the Jews and the world and, white people and wealth and all of that kind of started to really get put together for me. I was also there on scholarship. I mean, not full scholarship at all. So I also knew what was being sacrificed for me to be there. So I went hard. Like I put a lot of work into school. I didn't play around. I didn't get caught up. Yeah, I didn't get caught up in New York City. I didn't get caught up partying. I put my time into school. And it was interesting. You're asking, the question you asked me was that how about that transition, and it was deep because and that kind of transition happened too when I got out of school and started working on Broadway as well. The same kind of thing of like, I've been around white people, I've been around Black people, but I never really been around Black people that don't want to be Black, or Black people that are so desperate to be associated with white people.
Yeah.
That was a new thing for me. I was like, I don't
That's something to
understand
reflect
what
on.
I don't understand what you people are doing. I don't know
Yeah.
what's happening. Why don't you want to be a Black person? Why
Yeah,
don't you date Black people? You're a Black person, you're a Black man, but you don't want to date other Black men. You don't find them attractive. This is weird for me. I don't understand.
Yeah.
That was
It's like
very intense.
identity.
Yes, that was the first time,
breaking
because
stereotypes.
because growing up in DC, you know, whether you're gay, straight, and I'm a queer person myself, but it don't matter. You know, I grew up with gay Black men that were with other Black men, and they knew how to fight, and they might have worn a skirt and a crop top, but they could beat your ass.
Yes.
You know, that is what I grew up in. You know, I grew up with Black love, period. You know, so that was hard for me. I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
Sometimes
had
I
like
still
Black
don't
pride
understand
already,
that.
and you were around people who haven't really found themselves yet into that.
Yeah. And artistically, like that's why I was talking about the importance of going through an arts program where you're shown the Black people before you that were doing this. You know, a lot of people didn't have that, so they're trying to fit into this white gaze, you know, and I watched that, and it was hard for me to watch other Black people experiencing that. It was hard for me sometimes to really deal with the white people. I noticed myself speaking more in my DC vernacular, my DC accent.
You're trying to adjust.
Maybe it was by accident. You know, it's interesting because growing up, you know, to a lot of Black people, I was an Oreo or whatever, but like, fuck people, I know who the fuck I am, so it never fucking matter. But
you could have just been surviving. We all have to
exactly. So by the time I got to college, you know, I found myself feeling more of my Blackness, feeling more of my DC-ness, and maybe it was a subconscious defense mechanism in a way.
You want to be yourself, you're fighting all of these labels and pressures that you have to kind of go through. So I get that. I went through something very similar in college. It's weird. I've never been around so many white people before, but it helps. Like sometimes you're going through those struggles, it helps you kind of find your voice. And
it's so important.
Yeah, that was basically like my next question. I feel like you kind of answered it, because I was, you know, being an artist, especially a Black artist, you know, the journey goes up and down, you know, like even if you came from a background where you had a lot of support and encouragement, like especially in entering an industry that could either, you know, like amplify you on the next level or kill your spirit. Like, how do you kind of find your voice in that? How are you managing that as an artist?
Staying true to myself, staying true to the information that I know. Not wavering in that, feeling rooted in all of the education, and when I say education, I mean education of the diaspora itself, the education of what's going on the continent, the education of what's going on. I live in Harlem, so the education of probably what's going on outside of my window. I'm from DC, so the education of what's going on in the DC streets, you know, like staying true to being a person that's trying to investigate. I think that's what keeps me staying true to myself and true to my voice and finding my voice, investigating, and my interest in us. You know, one of the big things for me that got me through my freshman year of college was deciding, you know, I saw these white people and they were so happy and smiling, and they got to do whatever the fuck they wanted because they're not Black and they don't have all this shit that we gotta go through. And I was Black, and I was like mad at the world. I was like, fuck you, white people. Like, and then I was like, fuck this. Why the fuck do they get to walk around smiling and happy? And I'm mad. Too. So that's when I fucking tapped into Black joy. And I was like, man, fuck this. We deserve to be happy. And I understand we have to fight the fight, but like, we deserve to be happy. We deserve luxury. We deserve to not only have to walk around and preach Black Lives Matter. That doesn't have to be our existence solely. Of course, we can represent that, but I think that is present in my music as well. Everything I do is going to be Black as fuck, but you know, that's just because that's who I am. You know, that's the foundation of who I am. And I'm just constantly trying to investigate, even as a queer person, like, and as a Black queer woman, you know, investigating and that's kind of one of the things I was exploring in my last video. And my last, so constantly just trying to be true to who I am and true to my experience, and always remembering that we deserve to be joyful as well.
Yes. Well, I'm so glad that you always make that a priority, because Black joy is definitely seen throughout all of your music catalog so far. And I want to say that, like, Black joy, like just what you just explained, Black joy is revolutionary. So that's the type of music I feel you're making, is revolutionary music, because even if you didn't look at the visuals, if you're listening to the lyrics, which are bold, which are powerful, in your face, you know, full of affirmations, positive affirmations, like, it makes you feel pride within yourself, especially as a Black person.
Over, or am I silly? Silly 'cause I'm caught up. And is it okay that you don't love me no more? My heart replays the day you walked out that door. So come back, baby, come back to me, and tell the other one she's temporary. Come back, baby, come fly with me. Take your hand off the wheel and just ride with me. Come back, baby, come be with me. I think about you, do you think about me? Come back, baby, come back and see, 'cause my heart is aching and it feels like rain.
Into that, you know, you've released so many singles since you started doing music full time as an artist, and you know, you've made classics like Mary, Friday, Flowers, and your latest song Guidance, which I've been listening to Guidance. I'm like, yo, this is such a vulnerable song. Like, I don't even know if I'm brave enough to tell somebody all of these feelings, but thank God there's music. I'm like, can you just listen to that track? That's how I feel.
You know,
about
something
you.
interesting about Guidance, man, like, Guidance, I actually wrote, I think right after I wrote that song a long time ago. I wrote it right after I came from Africa, and it was about, we had a Black student union at my school. My school was 3% Black, NYU. We had a Black student
3%.
union. Yes.
I don't
And
know how
we had
that
a Black
feels.
student union. We had this awesome Black student union. Shout out to BSU, NYU. They were so fire.
Yeah.
And I ended up dating the president of the Black student union. She was a Black woman from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay.
And that is who that song is about.
Wow, no wonder the visuals is a beautiful Black woman with you in that
Yeah.
song. And I'm like, yo, this is some deep stuff, you know?
Yeah, that's what that song's about. And when making the video, that was probably one of the hardest videos I've ever shot, because I decided to have a woman in my video. I was like, it was a lot for me. You know, I mean,
Did
people in my
your
life,
community know that you're out and
yeah,
you're
I
proud?
mean, my clothes, yeah, I mean, it's not something I'm like ashamed of or like anything, but I don't know. I think there's still a lot of people that don't know that I'm a queer person. I mean, whether it be some of my family members or just, you know, distant people in my life. And also, like, period, people that don't know me, it's still bold to like decide to make a video with another woman, you know,
Yeah.
and there's going to be some people that aren't into that, you know, period. I don't know.
And the love that's shown in the video is not like what you expect, you know. It's like very like I don't know the word, like sensual, but like
it's intimate. It's intimate. And you don't see, you see WAP, you know, which is awesome, of course.
Of course.
You don't really see, and that was deep for me. And that's why I decided to do it, as scary as it was. And shout out to Chelsea Adofu, who I actually went to NYU with, who directed the video.
Visuals are insane. I want to like vacation there. Wow.
She's amazing. I mean, she makes movies. She did the C2B video, which is another powerful ass
I love that
video.
The fashion.
That we shot in Harlem. She's so fire. And we went to NYU together. We were in the same Black student union together. We would run into each other all the time at the dining halls and etc. And she's from Jersey, and we always vibe. And I'm so glad that we've been able to work together so much. So just even in talking to her, deciding like taking that risk of like, am I really going to do this? But it kind of, was scary for me, really was scary. I mean, but it had to be done because one, if I'm going to be authentic, the song is about a woman. So what would be really the point of me putting a man in the video? And then also there's going to be somebody that sees this video that sees themselves. Like, I know it's important because how many videos, movies, film, TV, and luckily there's more of it coming out,
now,
but where you really see queer people and queer women of color, brown queer women of color, brown, expressing intimacy and not just shaking their asses and
it's not overly
and it's
sexualized
just,
or none of that.
it's just like really about intimacy between two Black women. It's so crazy. The girl who's in the video, her name is Egypt. I met her in Tulum. That's where I shot the video in Mexico.
Oh wow.
Wow. Yeah. So Chelsea was living in Mexico at the time. And there's like a whole Black community in Tulum. Yeah. There's like, we go every year. Yeah. So we have like a whole Black community of people that who have moved there, et cetera. So anyway, she was telling me about her friend that was from DC. And I was like, okay, cool. She was telling me I had to meet her. She does locks. And so she has hair. I met Egypt in Tulum. We kicked it. We were just vibing, whatever, smoking, chilling. And when me and Chelsea decided we were going to do a video, and when Chelsea encouraged me to put a woman in the video, because Chelsea also knows me. She's known me since I was in college, which is also so beautiful because she personally knows me. She knew who my girlfriend was. She knew all of these things, and she really encouraged me to do that. She's not necessarily a queer person herself, but she encouraged me to do that. And she had introduced me to her friend who she told me was from DC. I said, okay. And when I met Egypt, I thought, there's me and Egypt are friends. We have no like sexual relationship at all, but I thought she was so beautiful, and I said, I think that's the person I want to be on a video. She's this dark skinned, absolutely gorgeous woman.
Goddess.
And I said that she gives goddess energy. And I was like, that's who I want to be in the video. And she is from DC, girl. I mean, we met in Tulum, and I hope that one day she hears this because she came back to DC. And during the pandemic, girl, we've been chilling. We've been going to the go-go. I mean, she's from DC proper. And
that's awesome.
That is my home girl. Like, and we weren't even as close in that video as we are now. We're proper friends.
It's beautiful how connections,
and
stuff. And everything that you were saying, I was thinking about your background going to the Duke Ellington, because I think that you kind of, even though this was a scary or maybe uncomfortable, decision for you at first, I think your background like kind of encourage you to challenge yourself as an artist, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People before you did the same thing. And like you said, someone's going to watch this video and see themselves. And I think it's so important. Again, you're creating history.
Yes.
You know what else? I think it also just goes back to your point earlier when you were saying like, to be Black, it shouldn't always have to be like a struggle, right? Like it shouldn't always be like, like care for our lives. We're out here surviving. Like, no, we should be fully human to experience.
Yeah, we have love
emotion.
Stories.
Yeah, so I think that's, again, you're making history. Can I ask you, like, what was your inspiration behind writing songs like Mary or Friday? By the way, Friday is my jam.
Won't you come to my party? I can take you high. If you come to my party, we will reach new
Especially like with that part with like, won't you come to my party? I can't do it like you, but I'm like, yes, like I feel it. I want to be invited to this party. I'm like, where it's at? How do I get there? It's dope. Like, what inspired you to write songs like Friday and Mary? Mary was like the first single.
Hell yeah. So actually, Friday was the first music video I ever shot, but I sat on it and I released it after I shot Flowers, after I shot C to B. But the first video I shot was Friday.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's not the first song I wrote, but Friday was the first video I shot ever. And it was epic.
It was.
We started in Harlem and then we went to Brooklyn. We had this house party. And actually the DJ, wow, life is so crazy. The girl who plays the DJ in the Friday video is actually the girl that Guidance is about.
Oh my
That's deep. I didn't even put that
goodness.
together.
Wow, look how everything
her
comes
name
together.
is Alexis Tony. She's a DJ.
Okay, shout out to
in
Alexis.
New York City. Yeah, shout out to Alexis. I haven't talked to her in a long ass time, but Alexis was and that was really cool for me too. I was like, she's a real DJ, and I was like, I'm gonna let her. Not that she had to do real DJ work in the video because it was just a song playing, but
yeah,
I was like, that's when I look at my shit, I'm like, I've been doing this because it was important to me to have that queer presence. Not that it was like I'm trying to make this political statement, but that's who I am. Okay. Friday, I wrote with an older member of the Black Stars. His name is Moki. His producer name is Lion Milk. He's a really awesome guy. He used to play keys in the Black Stars. He went to a new school. One day we got together and he was like, let's get together and try to write some shit. It was a Friday. It was hot. We were in Brooklyn. I went to his apartment. And that's where you get the like, hold on, 4 a.m. we riding license. Moki on the keys with his face towards the fan. I'm sitting at the ceiling, pen and paper, and I'm staring at the ceiling, pen and paper in my hand. That was actually what was happening. I was at Moki's apartment. We don't got even in the verse you hear there's a part that's we don't got AC, but we got keys. And that's what was happening that day. He was playing the keys and we didn't have no AC. He had the fan blowing. We were in Brooklyn. And that's when I started writing that song. And then I went on to finish it. But Friday was a blessing. Friday was just, it was a song we got together and decided to try to work out a song together. And
it's a classic.
We came up with Friday, and it's so fun and awesome. And even when I do the part that's like, why is it I end up spending all of my dividends? Am I promoting ignorance, or am I really making shit? Am I really slaying it, or simply just parlaying it, playing with it? George always want to have us saying it, but only God will have his way with it. I mean, notice the last day of the week and then vibe the seat. Time to have a good time and give into the beat. Let that back break right before you fall into them sheets. Let your back break again before he put that ass to sleep. Wake up, repeat. I'm wilding. Here we go. 4 a.m. we riding. 5 hit the lights in. 6 we still popping. 7 rolling past and token. 8 we get to hold it. Now we have descended. Damn, it's a new. Okay, so that part.
Yeah.
There's a go-go song.
That was fire, by the way. Had to say it.
Thank you. So Friday is really pretty much about it is about the lifestyle of Friday. Anything that people do on Friday is mentioned in the song Friday. So there's a go-go song by Rare Essence called Overnight Scenario. Okay. And that song, anybody from DC knows that song. It goes 3 in the morning, the pancake house. 4 in the morning, should be rolling to my house. 5 in the morning, the lights go out. 6 in the morning, you can hear start to shout. 7 in the morning, she'll be calling the cab. 8 in the morning, talking about the fun she had. 9 in the morning, then she just getting home, talking about the overnight scenario. Don't. That's a go-go song, a classic go-go song. So when I decided to write that part, that was like 4 a.m. we riding, 5 hit the lights in, 6 we still popping. That was
nice. That was an inspiration.
Yeah, that was inspired by Overnight Scenario.
Yo, that's so dope.
Yeah, I love actually talking about that because I love just I love rapping. I love making rhymes. It's like so cool to me. I just feel so connected to God when I'm doing it. It's really fun. It's like writing.
Did you ever do like poetry before? Because like when you rap, like obviously you're dope as hell. Like you can rap, you can sing, you can do all. But like when you're rapping, like when I'm listening to your lyrics, I'm like, yo, did she used to do slam poetry? Because like
I was not
put time into those lyrics.
I was not one of those people. I know about slam poetry. I had an ex that was a poet. I've been to slam poetry. I know that world, but I was not that at all. I did not write poetry. I am an MC. That is what I do. I am not a poet. I was never a poet. I'm an MC, and it was anointed to me. I feel that it was anointed to me. I feel that I'm a modern day griot. The position of the griot is something that is not chosen. It's something that's passed down to you. And I do feel that because I don't know where rapping came from for me. I decided to rap and I rap. And when I rap, you cannot tell me shit. Period. I mean, and it's not a cocky thing, but when I rap, I mean, what can you say? It you know what I'm saying? It's pretty much all laid out, and it's not me. It's God. It's God. Like, I'm just a vessel. When it comes to the rap shit, I just decide I'm gonna write, and it comes. I just let it come, and I don't question it. I know when it's right. It's probably one of the most spiritual experiences that I have because I don't have to question it. I know when the rhyme is right. And when the rhyme is right, I'm like, that's the rhyme, and then I move on to the next part. And it's interesting because like I'm a Capricorn, I'm a logical person, I'm a very good student, you know, like I'm very like, well, I want to do it right. You know, I'm a straight A student. I'm one of those people. But with the rhyming, it's not about what anybody else says. It is one of the most closest things to me. Like no one can tell me anything. And it wasn't something that someone ever taught me how to do. I just know how to rap.
You were meant to do it.
And when I do it, I feel in alignment. I when I pick up a mic and it's time for me to rap, you can't tell me shit.
Equilibrium between interdependent elements. Got my soul shook as the energy is balanced. Love is the hook that will serve you with the answers. Love is the potion that will make you do what matters. Go on, breathe it in and unleash your superpowers. You got the juice to stimulate the flower. Watch yourself bloom, leaves on wings to take you higher. Everyone inquires about where you got your fire from, the air and the earth and especially the water. I receive sight through cosmic maintenance by the Father. I face the fight with earthly patience from the mother. I don't know what the day gon' be. Start at C just to end at B. They gon' say what they say about me. Haters cool out and have a seat.
I could tell that you're a real MC because you talk like a real MC. Real MC, they're never cocky. They're confident. They know what they're doing. So like, and then to find out you're a Capricorn and you know, you're used to following all like, you know, the steps, but like, this is like your element to be as free as you can. That's just beautiful to hear. And like, I know I told you Flowers is literally like one of my favorite songs right now from you. And I know in like one of the verses you said, sometimes I fall apart, but the music is my fix. And I wondered if like, you know, music has always been therapeutic for you. Has it always been like your number one that you go to like?
And I think that I need to, every time I have this conversation with people, it reminds me because I don't write music as much as I need to be, or as much as I should be, or as much as I want to rather. But it is what makes everything make sense.
You're searching for the answer. Pose the question if you wanna know why. Won't you look to the sky? And if the sky seems too high, well, you just got to change your mind. I've been vibing with the starlight all night. The queen of heaven is the golden sunshine. Illumination starts on the inside. That's right.
Flowers I wrote. I remember just being like really distraught, really depressed. And I went up. I decided what I was gonna do was I found these Jay Dilla beats. I don't know if you know who Jay Dilla is. Jay Dilla is a producer. Yeah, Jay Dilla is that man. If you don't know Jay Dilla, you have to know who Jay Dilla is. I mean, he's produced so much of Erykah Badu's stuff, Tribe Called Quest. I mean, that's who Jay Dilla is. It goes back to your
high school days. No wonder you could be in a line with him. Okay, that makes sense.
So I decided like I was gonna, you know, you can find a lot of his beats online. He's passed away from lupus. But I found a lot of his beats, you know. I was like, you know, let me just start. I wanted to write to some Dilla beats. So let me write some Dilla. So I found a couple beats and I started writing, you know, and there's probably still some songs from that time that I haven't done anything with. But Flowers was one of those songs. And the reason it's called Flowers is actually because that beat was called Flowers. And I had somebody recreate it, that beat, the Jay Dilla beat, but that's where the real name Flowers came from. That beat was called Flowers. His beat was called Flowers. I sat up in one of the dressing rooms at work when I wasn't on stage, and I was just depressed, but I was trying to was intentionally trying to get over what I was experiencing through writing music. And yeah, very intentionally. I mean, I was very, very sad, but I was like, I guess I'll just have to like write these songs really good, trying to feel better, you know, like write this music. And so that was one of the songs that came out of that. There were a few other songs actually too that I haven't put out yet, but that was one of the songs that came out of that. This awesome guy named Julian Pollock, J3PO, he reproduced the beat. So that's the beat that you're hearing now. But I was going through a dark time, and that song also reminds me of the importance of sitting down and getting it out, even in the middle of it feeling terrible, because you don't know what can come out. Those were real words that I was like actually trying to figure out at that time. I was just like, does it really matter what I do or what I say? Because I'm reflecting off the matter. You know, like that. That's what was, you're here for work or you're here to play. I'm going with the latter. Because how you feel is in what you say. I'm searching for the answer. Or pose the question. It was literally something, I mean, it was just words I was saying, if you wanna, because I kept, why is this happening to me? But if you wanna know why, won't you look to the sky? And at that time, the sky seemed too high. And if the sky seems too high, you just got to change your mind. You got to start where you are. I mean, that was literally what was actually happening to me at that time. So your question was about the music is my fix. It's not just about me listening to music and that makes me feel better. The music is my fix because I was literally fixing myself by writing this music.
Yeah. And I'm so grateful. Thank you for sharing that vulnerable story with us. And I'm very grateful that you made that song, because while you were fixing yourself, I'm fixing myself listening to it. And all the people who are, you know, get to listen to this song, who are blessed to listen to a song, they're fixing their own, you know, things that they have. And it's very normal for us, I think, especially for Black people, to just kind of like keep going. You keep going on with the day. You don't really take the time to kind of sit with your feelings. I think 2020, no matter where you're from, kind of forced people to kind of sit with a whole bunch of stuff that they didn't want to deal with, you know? So, and that's when you released it. So I'm grateful that you made that, because you didn't have to, you know, you could have just kept it to yourself. So thank you for that.
And I'm glad I did that. And that video was actually shot down the street from my house in Rock Creek Park. I know it looks like this whole thing happening, but I swear it was in Rock Creek Park. I tried to make that video my like most low budget video, and it still was probably my most low budget video.
It don't look like it,
but it still happened. I mean, it still worked. And shout out to Leasha. Me and Leasha went to high school together. She's also an actress and a rapper and a musician. And she's, like I said, she's from DC. I mean, as soon as I made the song, I heard her voice on it. I love her verse. I love what she contributed to it. Even listening to her verse, I just be like, I'm rolling with the punches. Keep in my head, like, man, that shit is so fucking fire to me.
And to see y'all like so joyful, like, you know, not only like both look incredible, but like joy. Like if there was a gift, like I keep like replaying that moment where you're just kind of like going in circles and dancing, and kind of like you're dancing out those sad feelings, like let it out. We getting through this, you know. So thank you for creating that. I wanted to ask you, you know, you have a album coming out this fall called Nebula. And can you tell us a little bit about Nebula? I'm excited to listen to it. Can you tell us, you know, what the visions of this album are? Like, what can we expect to hear? The subjects you talk about?
Friday is on the album.
Oh, word.
And the next single that I'm releasing called Stuff in the Middle, that's on the album. I shot that video in LA. That's the next video that's coming out next month. So the album's coming out this year before December.
Nice.
And I mean, we'll see what the response is. I kind of just want to get onto the next project. That's just me being honest as an artist, because it's kind of weird sometimes. But you're gonna hear it's gonna be sonically pleasing. There's some really great instrumentation. There's some love songs. There's some unrequited love. There's some late night meetups on there. There's one of my favorite tracks is, I have a song called Design, and then there's Design 2, which is like an extension of that song. And it's so beautiful. I mean, it really takes love into the constellations, and it's very, it's spacey. I'm excited to put it out. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm excited to listen to it. I feel like it's gonna be perfect for cuffing season. It's gonna be perfect for like the end of the year, just to kind of have some good music to feel good to reflect on.
There's an empowering song on there that I wrote when I was on tour in a hotel room. That song is called I Say. That's a really powerful song. That is another one of those like flowers. One of those I can listen to it myself and be like, yes.
I have two more questions, as I know, we're wrapping up. So,
girl, take your time. I'm here.
My other question to you is, did you ever run into challenges, as an artist and young adult? And like, what advice would you give to any artist, wherever they are in their artistic journey, like how to manage, those adversities and continue to live in your purpose?
I just say use your art, use it. And that's something I'm telling myself as well. Use your art. If you go through adversity, use your art. Write about it. In the moment, write about it. Even if it feels like you don't know what you're saying or why, and not only write, but create about it, create in the moment. And that's something that I'm trying to deal with as well, and trying to do, because for myself, sometimes like, well, I'm too sad to make anything. I'm too depressed. I'm crying. I can't do it right now, but of course, take care of yourself. But if you can find anything inside of you to create during that time, you will look back and find something that can save you, like flowers. I wrote that when I was with tears, and it's hard it's hard as an artist, because you're like trying to heal and expose your adversity at the same time. So that's a tough thing. And it's like, you're like, well, I'm trying to heal, so I don't want to be sad and write about being sad. It's like, how do I? But I think it's important for us to take account for that time as well, and try to put something down in those moments, because there's going to be people in those moments, and that's when they need it. That's when they need the word, and when they can feel that you were in that moment too. They can feel how real it is for themselves, and feel like there's even if they just feel like there's someone else that understands, or they feel like they can overcome. I think that's important. I think that's something that I'm telling myself. And don't take your adversity as something that is so bad that's happening to you. It has a purpose.
I was thinking that, like, other than being a griot, you might also be a healer. I think
I am definitely a healer. If you go to my website, that is one of the things that I've written. I'm a songwriter, I'm a healer. I haven't completely tapped into all of those healing aspects of myself, but I do believe that I very much so know that I'm a healer. And I think maybe too, as I continue to age, those things will become more present to me. But I do very much so know that I'm a healer.
You are. Your
I have
art
a
is
lot.
healing.
Thank you.
Head back 'cause I'm feeling right. Saying bye to the day it's going down, babe. And I'ma need you around, baby. I said the sun is going down, baby.
I'm honored. Thank you for supporting and for taking the time to do this again. Like, you didn't have to, so I appreciate your time and learning more about your dopeness.
Yes.
But yeah,
Thank
but
you.
basically, like I told you,
And I know you're super dope.
oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm
Welcome.
learning. I'm in my journey now. Everything you were saying, I feel like you wasn't only saying it to the audience, I was taking it into. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm learning to tap in more into my artistry. And Fahrenheit TV, this platform, it started off like as a way for me to build my portfolio as an aspiring producer, but now it's really like grown into like a platform where I've talked to so many people that I didn't even expect. Like I feel like I remember you were saying something in the story, but like when you start to like do what you love, I feel like more blessings come your way because I feel like you're like living in your purpose. So I feel like I'm living my purpose, even if I don't know what the next, whatever's gonna look like. I feel good. Like I'm like talking to you and like exchanging all of the things that you said tonight. Like it feels good, but it also feels like a blessing because I feel like one of my missions, I guess, or one of my purpose is how you said you're a griot. I feel like my mission, I was supposed to come here to make sure that Black people specifically, our history like has like I'm part of that history. Like, people could look you up 20 years from now and be like, oh wow, look what she was saying then. You know what I mean? Like I think that's like one of my missions to make sure that I am building that catalog. So thank you for helping.
Well, I can't wait to come to Boston, hang out with
come
you.
to Boston. You can come
and
see me. You have a place to stay if you need to.
I will.
I can show you the art scene and all that. But for real, I think you will love the vibe again. Hopefully,
for sure. Yeah.
I hope you have a good rest of your night and
Thanks
amazing
so much.
month of September. I can't wait to listen to Nebula. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you. I hope to speak with you soon.
You too. Have a great night.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.